Hi everyone, welcome back in our another reactjs tutorial. And in this reactjs tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a responsive navbar using reactjs. And in my screen here you can see that we have a beautiful navbar, and this navbar is looking so professional. And on the top here you can see that in the left side we have our beautiful logo, and in the right side we have some nav links with some beautiful hover effect. And then at the center here you can see that we have a heading which is React Navbar, and then we have a difficulty level 0. So this is difficulty level 0 because we have used pretty basic things to create this navbar. And after this navbar I will create another navbar using some advanced React.js techniques. So yeah, for now we have our difficulty level 0, and we are going to create this navbar using reactjs. Now I will inspect my website, and I will choose a mobile phone device, and here you can see that in our small screen device, in our mobile screen device we do not have any nav links on our navbar, but instead of our nav links we have a hamburger menu. Now if I click on this hamburger menu, here you can see that our navbar is sliding from the right side. And if I click on this close icon, here you can see that our navbar is now sliding back to the right side. And this transition is looking so beautiful. And then we have these beautiful nav links also. Now this tutorial is beginner friendly. I have created this navbar using some basic fundamentals, and using some basic techniques we will create this beautiful responsive navbar using reactjs. Now in a few minutes we will create this beautiful navbar using reactjs. But before we get started, if you guys are new in my channel, then please subscribe, like this video and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, please let me know in my comment section. That's it guys, let's get started. First you have to open your favorite code editor. And in this tutorial I am not going to use any local code editor like VS Code. I am going to use Code Sandbox. And I hope most of you guys already know about Code Sandbox. And if you want to skip this introduction part about Code Sandbox, then timestamps are given in the description. Okay, now if you are new in Code Sandbox, then first of all you have to open your browser and then go to this website codesandbox.io, and this is their official website. And here you can see that it is an online code editor. So we are going to use Code Sandbox for creating our React projects, because you guys already know if you want to install React, then you have to install a lot of libraries, a bunch of packages to install React, and it takes a lot of time to install. But instead of it you can use an online code editor where you don't have to install all of those libraries, all of these packages. You just have to open a pre-built online code editor. And the best part of Code Sandbox is that you can write code like you do in VS Code. And also after creating your project or what you are doing inside Code Sandbox, after completing this you can simply download the complete folder or complete project inside your local machine, or you want to deploy your project inside GitHub or any Netlify web page, then you can do that from Code Sandbox also. And another thing is that I don't want to fill up my computer space for React.js projects, because you know that whenever we install React we have to install a lot of things and it takes a lot of space from your computer. So I don't want to fill up my space with only just React.js projects. Okay, so that's why I'm using Code Sandbox. But if you want to use VS Code, then you can do that also. You just have to install React and then simply create a new project by opening your CMD and then type npx create React app and then simply the project name, then type enter. The React libraries will be installed in your computer, and then you can follow my tutorial. But if you want to use Code Sandbox, then I welcome all of you to use Code Sandbox. So now let's start creating our React project inside Code Sandbox. So what you have to do, you have to click this button, start coding for free. And here you can see that on the opening screen they have a lot of pre-built templates. Here you can see that we have React, we have Vue 3, we have static HTML, we have Remix, React, TypeScript, Vanilla, then Angular, Node, pre-React and Vanilla TypeScript. So we have a lot of pre-built template here. So we are using reactjs for creating our Navbar. So I will simply click on React. And here you can see that in just a few seconds, React will be installed inside your browser. You don't need to install anything. You don't need to install any libraries or any packages. They will be automatically installed inside your browser. And don't worry guys, after creating the complete project, you can download the source files, you can download the complete project, or if you want, you can deploy your project from inside the Code Sandbox. So now let me give you a quick tour of Code Sandbox. In the left side here you can see that we have some icons, and this is Code Sandbox info. Then we have our files which is showing here, and inside our file here you can see that I have a public, and this public file will be also be installed inside your React project if you are using VS Code. Okay, and then we have our source, and inside our source we have our app.js, index.js, style.css. If I open our index.js, here you can see that this is our index.js. Then we have our style sheet. And if you are using VS Code and if you have installed React inside your local machine, then you will find some extra files inside this source folder. So what you have to do, you just have to delete those files and only keep these three files: app.js, index.js and style.css. After that we have a package.json, and inside this package.json here you can see that we have our all the dependencies and all the scripts. And another thing is that here you can see that we have a dependencies section, and inside these dependencies we have our React, we have our React DOM, and then we have our React scripts. And the best part about Code Sandbox is you can always install the latest version, the latest packages. Here you can see that we are using React 18 and React DOM also 18, then React script 4.0. So here you can see that all the packages are latest. And then here you can see that we have a search icon, we can search anything, and then we have a setting option here, and inside our setting option we have prettier, we have JSON, Netlify. And then here you can see that we have our GitHub. After completing your project, you can deploy your project inside GitHub, and then we have a deployment option also, and then we have a group option also. Okay, now let's go to our source file. And after our this sidebar, here you can see that we have our coding section where we are going to do all of our coding. And then here you can see that we have our screen. This is the preview screen. And another thing is that you can use some VS Code shortcuts for our this Code Sandbox. Suppose if I type Ctrl B, here you can see that our sidebar is now hidden. If I type our Ctrl B again, here you can see that we have our sidebar. So yeah, some of VS Code shortcut also works in Code Sandbox. So that's it for Code Sandbox. Okay, so now what I will tell you is that go to Sandbox and then create an account. After creating an account, you can have all of these personal settings. So yeah, here you can see that in the left side we have our public, our source and our package. Okay, so from here open our app.js. So now what I will do is I will simply create some components. So for creating some component inside our source folder, simply click right and then create directory, and here we have to type components. That's it. And inside this component folder, I'm going to create a Navbar component. Okay, so that's why create a new file, and then here it will be navbar.js. And after creating the Navbar.js, we have to also style the Navbar. So that's why we have to create a separate Navbar style sheet. So go to your component, then create a new file, and it will be Navbar styles.css. So guys, here you can see that we have created our first component, which is Navbar.js, and then we have also created a style sheet, which is Navbar styles.css. And now, first of all, we have to open our Navbar.js, Ctrl B and hide the sidebox. And inside our navbar, first of all, we have to create a function. So let's type a function. And you have to always remember that whenever you create a function inside a component, then the function name will always be the file name. So our file name is navbar. So here it will be also navbar. That's it. And inside the function, we have to create a return. And for now, inside our return, we have to add an empty fragment like this. And after creating our function, we have to also export the function. So it will be export default and the function name, which is navbar. That's it. So here inside our empty fragment, if I create a h1 tag and if I type this is navbar, and here you can see that in our screen we cannot see anything, okay, because our navbar is just a component. We have to import this component inside our app.js file. Okay, so now let's go to our app.js file, and here you can see that we have a div tag, and then we have a class name which is app, then we have a h1 hello sandbox, which is this one, then we have a text, this one. So what I will do is I will simply remove the h1 and the h2. So now we have to import our navbar component inside our app.js file. So for importing a component, we have to type like this, and we have to write the component name, which is navbar. Here you can see that I have a suggestion, and it is saying that navbar auto import. So if I type enter, here you can see that on the top our navbar is automatically imported. And now here we have to also end the navbar, we have to close the navbar. That's it. And guys, here you can see that we have simply imported our navbar component, and inside our navbar we have our this h1, which is this is navbar, and we can see our this text here. So now we can see that our navbar component is successfully imported inside our app.js file. Type the component name and then import the component from your folder. So now let's start creating our navbar. Now I will simply remove the h1, and here I will create a nav tag. That's it. And inside our nav tag I will create an anchor tag, and inside our anchor tag, first of all, I will add the logo of our website. If I go to our website, here you can see that on the top left I have a logo. So this is a free logo. Actually I have got it from internet. So for this kind of logo, you just have to open a new tab, and in the search bar you have to search for logoipsum.com. So you have to visit this website, okay, logoipsum.com, and this is the website basically. And inside this website you will find so many dummy logos, which one you can use inside your project, and you can simply use any one of these. So what I will do is I will scroll down, and here you can see that this is the logo I am using. So you can either install the PNG by clicking on this download link, or you can simply copy the SVG code of this logo by just clicking here. Here you can see that we have a tick, and it is saying that we have successfully copied the SVG code. Now let's go to our code editor, and here inside our anchor tag I will paste the code. So guys, here you can see that we have our SVG code, and then we have our logo here. Now here you can see that in our this bottom area we have a problem. Now if I click on this, and here you can see that we have a problem here, and this problem is saying that the href, it means we have to add a href option inside our anchor tag. So now let's add a href, and here you can see that as soon as I type href, our problem is now gone. So what you have to do is inside your href you have to add a valid URL. Okay, you cannot leave this href empty. So I will simply add a URL, and it will be index.html. That's it. So guys, here you can see that we have our logo. So after our logo, what we have to do, we have to create our these nav links. So for creating our these nav links, let's go to our code. After this anchor tag, we have to create another div tag, and inside this div tag we have to create another list. Then we have to create a list tag, and inside this list tag we have to create our anchor tag. And as I said earlier, you cannot leave the anchor tag without href, so you have to add the href. So right now the URL will be index.html and our first nav link will be home. So like our home, I will simply copy this list tag and then paste it 4 more times, and this one will be shop, this one will be blog, and this one will be about, this one will be contact. So guys, here you can see that we have our logo, we have our this nav links also. So now what we have to do is we have to style our navbar. So for styling our navbar, we have also created a style sheet which is Navbar styles. So open our Navbar styles. So first of all, what I will do inside our, here you can see that we have a nav tag. So I will copy this nav tag and then paste it here. And here you can see that inside our screen, our logo and our nav link is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So here I will use display flags, then align items will be center. And here you can see that our style sheet is not working because we have to also import this style sheet inside our navbar.js. So what we have to do is we have to go to the top, and here we have to import / and we have to write the name, and it is navbar styles.css. Now save, and here you can see that our this logo and our nav link is now in one row. So it means we have successfully imported our style sheet inside our navbar. So after our align items, now I want to add some space between them. So that's why it will be justify content and it will be a space between. Then I want to add a background color, and the color will be this one. That's it. And then I want to add some padding, and the padding from top and bottom will be 20 pixel, from left and right it will be 80 pixel. Then I want to add some box shadow, so let's add some box shadow, and the x value will be 0, the y will be 5 pixel, and the radius will be 15 pixel. Then I want to add a RGBA color for the shadow, and it will be 0, 0, 0 and 0.06. Okay, so after this one, here you can see that our all the nav links is now in one column, but I want them in one row. So that's why I will go to our navbar, and if I scroll down after our logo, here you can see that we have a div tag, and inside our div tag we have our another list, and inside our another list I will add an ID, and the ID will be navbar. That's it. Now copy this ID from here and then paste it here, and here I will use display flags, then align items center, then justify content also center. So now here you can see that our all the nav links is now in one row. So after this one, now I want to add some spacing between these nav links, and also I have bullet points, but I don't want them, so I will remove those things. So copy this navbar and then type our list tag. First of all, I will remove the bullet points, so that's why list style will be none. Then I will add some padding from left and right, so that's why from top and bottom will be 0, from left and right it will be 20 pixel. Then I will use position relative, and guys, here you can see that we have now a space between them. So after this one, I want to add some color for our nav links. So for doing that, copy this list tag and then paste it here. Target our anchor tag. First of all, I want to remove the underline, so that's why text decoration will be none. Then I will use a font size, and the font size will be 1.3 rem. Then I will add a font width, and it will be 600. Then I will add a color, and the color will be white. Also I want to add some hover effect, so that's why copy this one, copy this anchor tag and then paste it here. Then add a hover, and if I hover on our these links, I want to change the color, and the color will be this one. That's it. If I now hover, here you can see that our color is changing, but I want a smooth hover effect, so that's why I will use a transition, and it will be 0.3 second is in out. Now if I hover here, you can see that I have a smooth transition. Okay guys, so after this one, if I go to our website, here you can see that if I hover on our nav links, we have a underline, and we have to also create this underline. So for creating the underline, let's go to our code editor and then copy our this anchor tag and then paste it here. Then we have to add a pseudo element which is after, and if we want to use after, we have to add a content, and the content will be empty. Then we have to add a width of the border, and it will be 30%. Then we have to add a height of the border, and it will be 2 pixels. Then we have to add a background color for the border, and the background color will be this one. And now we have to use position absolute, then bottom. From bottom it will be -4 pixels, and from the left it will be 20 pixels. That's it. If I now hover here, you can see that we have an underline at the bottom. I want our this home section to always like this. So for doing that, we have to go to our navbar, and here you can see that we have our home. So for our home, I have to add a class name inside our anchor tag. So let's add a class name, and the class name will be active. That's it. Now we have to add this class name here. So what I will do, I will simply copy this one, then add a comma and then paste it here again, and here instead of hover it will be dot active. Here you can see that our home section is now highlighted. So not only the underline, I want our this home text to be like this always. So for doing that, we have to go to our hover section, copy this one, then add a comma, then paste it here again, and this time instead of hover it will be dot active. So now here you can see that our home section is now completely active, and we have also our this hover effect. Okay, so after this one, now what we have to do is we have to make our this navbar responsive. So for making our navbar responsive, if I go to our website and if I inspect the website, and from here if I select a mobile device, here you can see that on the top we have our logo, and in the right side we don't have any nav links, but instead of them we have only hamburger menu. If I click on this hamburger menu, here you can see that our nav links is sliding from the right side. So here is our nav links. Okay, so I want a icon here. One is our hamburger icon, and another one is our close icon. So I want to add these icons whenever we are in a small screen device. Okay, so for doing that, what we have to do, we have to first add font awesome icons inside our website. So for doing that, we have to search font awesome CDN. Okay, we have to search for font awesome CDN, and from here we have to open the first link, and here you can see that we have a CDN. So from here I will simply copy the link tag, and let's go to our code editor, and from here I will go to our public folder, and inside the public we have a index.html. Okay, so open this index.html. So this is our index.html, and now we have to add the CDN link of font awesome inside our head tag. Okay, so here you can see that after our title I will simply paste the link tag. Here you can see that we have our link tag, and close our index.html, and from now we can use our font awesome icons. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go to our navbar.js. After our div, I want to create another div tag, and inside our div tag I want to add an ID, and the ID will be mobile, and inside our div tag we have to add the font awesome icon. So that's why we have to take an icon tag, and then we have to add a class name. Now you have to remember one thing: if you are using React, then you have to always put class name, not class. Okay, not class, you have to add class name, and the class name of our hamburger icon, it will be fas fa dash bars. Okay, so now this bar is not showing in the Navbar. So what we have to do is copy our this ID mobile and then paste it here. Then we have to target our icons, and here we have to add a color, and then the color will be white. So after our these bars, I want another icon for our close icon. So what we have to do is simply copy this I tag and then paste it here, and this time the class name will be fas fa dash times, and here you can see that we have a close icon also. We cannot show both of these at once. Okay, first of all we want to show our hamburger menu, and if I click on this hamburger menu, then only I want to show the close icon. So here we have to create a state for our these icons. So that's why what I will do is I will remove these icons, and inside our I tag I will create a ID, and the ID will be bar. Then I will create a class name. Then we have to initialize the state. Okay, so that's why type this dot state. Then I will add a click event, and the event name will be clicked. So what I am doing is I am checking if our hamburger menu is clicked or not. If our hamburger menu is clicked, then I want to show the close icon. Okay, so we have to add the close icon class name, and it will be fas fa dash times, then colon, and if our close icon is not open, then we want to show our bar. Okay, so we have to add the bar class name, which is fas fa dash bars. That's it. So now here you can see that we have a error, and this error is saying that we have not initialized the clicked, which is undefined. So now we have to define the click here. Okay, we have to create a state on the top. So for creating the state, before our return, we have to initialize the state, and here what I have to do, I have to add the clicked function, and this will be false. Okay, initially it will be false, and here you can see that we have a problem here, and this problem is saying that a state is not defined. So for defining the state, we have to change our function, and after changing it, we have to convert this function into a class. Okay, into a class component. So what we have to do is remove the function, and instead of function it will be class. Then we have to add our class name, which is Navbar, and it will be extends to a component. And here you can see that as soon as I write the component, our component is automatically imported on the top. Okay, so after extending our class name to a component, here you can see that we have error, and this error is basically here because of render. It means if we extend a class name, we have to render it. Okay, so that's why we have to wrap our this complete return inside a render. So here I will add a render. So take this one and then go to the bottom and then paste it here. That's it. Now let's go to the top. Now here you can see that we have another error, and this error is saying that cannot set property undefined. Okay, so here we cannot keep this empty, so I will simply remove this thing. That's it. Now here you can see that our error is now gone, and here you can see that we have our only one icon, which is bar. And if I now click on this bar, here you can see that our bar is not working, so we have to make this bar working. So what we have to do is, if I click on this icon, we have to make our this state true. Okay, so for doing that, we have to create another function, and the function name will be handle click, and then we have to add an arrow function. So what we have to do is we have to add the this dot set a state, and the clicked value will be changed. So here you can see that we have right now false, so here it will be not false, so it will be exclamatory this dot state dot clicked. So now here you can see that our state was previously false. Now if anyone click on this icon, then I want to change the state value and it will be not false. So handle click is going to do that. So now we have to initialize this handle click for our these icons. Here you can see that we have a mobile div tag, so we have to do it here. We have to add a function and it will be on click, and here we have to call the function name, which is handle click. That's it. Okay, now if I click on this icon, here you can see that after clicking our close icon is not showing, because here I have written the class name wrong. It will be FA-times, okay, not time. So we have to add a S, and if I click on this icon, here you can see that we have our close icon. And if I now click on our close icon again, here you can see that we have our hamburger icon. So this function is now working. Okay, after doing that, now what we have to do, in our small screen device, I don't want to show all of these nav links. I want to hide this, okay? But in our large screen device, I don't want to show these icons. So first of all, what I will do is I will hide this icon inside our large screen device. So for doing that, let's go to our style sheet, and here you can see that we have a mobile. So I'll simply copy this mobile div tag and then paste it here, and here I will use display none. Now here you can see that our icon is now gone. Okay, so now we have to initialize media for using media query, because in our small screen device I want to hide these nav links. So for doing that, let's initialize our media screen. Then we have to add a max width, and it will be 769 pixel. Okay, so in our small screen device, I want these nav links to be in one column, not in one row. So that's why let's go to our top, and from here copy this Navbar ID and then paste it here. So here you can see that we have our display flags. After our display flags, I will use flags direction column, and now here you can see that everyone is now in one column. And here the align items will be flags as start. Then justify content will be also flags as start. Okay, now what I will do is I will separate these nav links from this navbar. Okay, so what I will do is I will use position fixed, and here you can see that our nav links is now separated from our navbar. But now we have to place them in the correct position. So for doing that, I will use top 90 pixel, then I will use right 0 pixel, then I will use a width, and which will be 300 pixel, then I will use a height of 100 vh, then I will use a background color here. So for adding the background color, and the color will be this one. Now here you can see that we have our different background color. After this one, I want to add a box shadow, and for X it will be 0, for Y it will be 40 pixel, and the radius will be 60 pixel. Then I want to add a RGBA, and it will be 0.1, and then I want to add some padding, and padding will be 40 pixel from top, from left 0, from bottom 0, and from right it will be 10 pixel. That's it. After this one, in our small screen device, I want to show our hamburger icon here. So for doing that, copy this mobile ID and then paste it here, and here there will be display block, and here you can see that we have our close icon, and then we have our hamburger icon. Okay, so after this icon, now I want to style these nav links a little bit more. So for doing that, let's go and copy this navbar, then paste it here, then target our list tag, and here I will add some margin bottom, and it will be 25 pixel like this. Then I will take our icons, and then I will style them. First of all, I will use a font size, and it will be 24 pixel. That's it. And then I will use a cursor and it will be pointer. So now we have a hand icon here. Okay guys, this is now working. Okay, so after doing that, if I look closely, here you can see that we have some space here. We have some space around our this navbar. So what we have to do, we have to remove the space. So for removing the space, we have to open our file and then go to our style.css. And here what we have to do, we have to add a star. And here we have to add margin 0, then padding 0, then box sizing, border box. Now guys, here you can see that our space around our navbar is now gone. So that's it. Close our style sheet. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to make our this hamburger menu and our this navbar working. Okay, it means if I click on this icon, I want to show our this navbar. If I click on this close icon, then I want to hide our this navbar. So for doing that, we have to go to our navbar.js. And if I go to the top, here you can see that we have our ID navbar. So this is the main ID actually. Here you can see that we are styling our navbar ID. So we have to modify our this navbar ID. So what we have to do, we have to go to our navbar and navbar ID, and here we have to add a class name. And inside our this class name, again we are using a state. So that's why we have to add this dot state dot clicked. Now we have to check. If our this navbar is open or not. So here if I add the ID which is navbar, and then we have to add a separate class name which is active. And if our navbar active is not open, then we have to initialize another ID or another class name, and it will be only navbar. Okay, now let me explain you this thing. Here you can see that we are using class name and a state because we have to know if our this sidebar is open or not. Okay, so here you can see that we have added active class. We will add this active class in our CSS later, but first we have to know if our navbar is active or not. If our this hamburger menu is clicked, then we have to active our navbar. Otherwise we have to close our navbar. Okay, so how we will close our navbar? We can close our navbar by just changing a CSS value. Let me show you. If I go to our navbar, here you can see that we have added a right value. Okay, so right now it is 0 pixel. If I use -300 pixel, here you can see that we have hidden our navbar. So what we have to do, we have to create an active class, and inside our active class we have to give the right value accurately. So for doing that, copy our this navbar ID and then paste it here, then add that active class. And here what we have to do, we have to add the right value, and it will be 0 pixel. That's it. Now if I click on this icon, here you can see that our navbar is now showing, and if I click on this close icon, our navbar is hidden. So I hope you guys understood this statement. So this is basically clicked. All of this state will only activate if we click on our these icons. If I click on this icon, then I will activate our navbar, and if we do not click on our this icon, then we will keep our normal navbar. Okay, like this. So guys, here you can see that we have our navbar, but this navbar is not smooth. I want to add a smooth transition. So for doing that, let's go to our navbar, and here I will add a transition, and it will be 0.3 second is in out. Now if I click on our this icon, here you can see that our navbar is sliding from the right side, and if I close the icon, our navbar is sliding back to the right side. So this is looking so good, guys. And you can see that we have successfully created our navbar. If I increase the size, here you can see that we can see our nav links with our logo, and if I decrease the size, we can see our responsive navbar. Okay, after completing our project, now it is time to deploy our project in Netlify or GitHub pages. So using Code Sandbox, you don't need to do anything else. In the left side, you will find a deployment option. Just click on that. After completing your project, here you can see that we have few options to make our project live. And here one of is Netlify and another one is GitHub pages. And for Netlify, it is very easy. If you want to publish your website or your project on Netlify, then it is pretty easy. What you have to do is you have to just go to netlify.com and then you have to sign up, and if you already have an account, then just log in. Then go to our Code Sandbox, and from here you can see that we have a button deploy to Netlify. We just have to click on this button, and here you can see that your project will be pushed on the Netlify. In just a few seconds, here you can see that we have a notification Sandbox deploying. So in just a few seconds, your website or your project will be deployed on Netlify. So guys, here you can see that we are done. Yes, we are done publishing our project on Netlify. Now from here you can open your website or project, and here you can see that this is your project. Now this project is live. If you want to check, just copy this link from your project and then open a new browser and then paste that link and type enter. Here you can see that your React project is now live. This is so easy guys, so easy. So after deploying on Netlify, if you want to claim your project, it means if you want to save your project in your Netlify account, just close this window, and here in the left side you will find some option. One is visit site. If you want to visit your site, then you can click on this. If you want to claim your site, it means if you want to add your project inside your Netlify account, then you have to click on this button. So I will simply click on this button and they will automatically log in into my account. And guys, here you can see that we have a button add project to Netlify dashboard. Now you just have to simply click on this button and your project will be added inside your Netlify account. This is so easy guys, so easy. Okay, so our Netlify is done. After publishing your website or your project inside Netlify, then we have another option left, which is GitHub pages. If you want to publish your project on GitHub, you can do that also. First of all, you have to go to github.com and then you have to create an account, or if you have already a GitHub account, then you just have to log in. So after login inside your GitHub account, just go to our Code Sandbox. Now what you have to do, you have to just click on this sign in button and they will automatically connect your Code Sandbox with your GitHub. So from here I will click on authorize Sandbox, and here you have to put your password. After successfully connecting your Code Sandbox with your GitHub account, here you will find another button, and this time it will show deploy to GitHub. Now click on this button, and here now they will automatically upload your project inside their server. And guys, here you can see that we have successfully uploaded our project inside GitHub server, and here they are saying that deploys to GitHub pages may take up to 15 minutes to take effect. Okay, so from here we can visit our website by clicking on this button, and here you can see that right now it is saying that our website is not ready yet. That's why after a few minutes we will refresh our website and we will see if our website is published or not. And guys, here you can see that we have successfully uploaded our project, our website in GitHub pages. And if I go to our Code Sandbox, and here you will find some other options like we have inside our Netlify. And from here you can visit your site and you can visit the GitHub repository also. And this is pretty easy guys. Now you have seen that using Code Sandbox you can deploy your project, you can deploy your website in Netlify and in GitHub pages in just a few seconds of time. Now I will show you how you can download your complete project from Code Sandbox. If you go to the top in the files, let me zoom it for you. Here you can see that you will find a arrow down button, and you just have to click on this button and your complete project will be downloaded as a zip file. That's it. Now in this tutorial I have shown you how to create a responsive navbar using reactjs. I have shown you how to deploy your project and deploy your website in Netlify or in GitHub pages in just a few seconds. Also I have shown you how to use Code Sandbox, and also I have shown you how to download your project from Code Sandbox. So guys, we have successfully created our navbar using reactjs. And we have used all the pretty basic things for creating this navbar using reactjs. And in our next tutorial we are going to create this navbar. Here you can see that this navbar is also responsive. If I increase the size, we have our react icon, our logo, and then we have this nav links with icons, and then we have a button, and then we have this responsive navbar also. If I click on this icon, here you can see that we have a navbar sliding from the left side, and this is difficulty level 1, okay, because we are going to use some advanced React features for creating this navbar, and I will give you the link of this tutorial in the description. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you guys can now create a responsive navbar using reactjs. And if you guys have enjoyed this tutorial, then please subscribe, like this video, and press the bell icon for the future videos. And if you guys have any question about this video, please let me know in my comment section. That's it. See you guys in our another tutorial.